um, about like a man cannot truly give to like one of the beautiful things about the universe is a man cannot truly give to another without also enriching himself or herself. Um, and that's a nice quote. Although I don't believe it 100%. I think sometimes, well, it depends. It depends. I guess you could give half a plate of food and enjoy the satisfaction of giving as much or more than you would enjoy the food itself. Um, so, anyway, again, uh, to get to the point in many more words than necessary, I feel like to give. Oh, no, not to give. If you're in a group of people who are all supportive of each other and supportive of the goal of the betterment of the whole group as a whole and all the individuals within the group, whether the group is 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, um, and not to say everyone has to be like, oh, I respect your belief, and but I feel you're incorrect. I mean, you can, especially as you get to know each other, you can be funny. You could be like, oh no, that's total bullshit, But as long as you're doing it out of love and you're doing it not to like belittle the other person and to like say like, oh, whatever, no, you're wrong, you suck, in a way that not only is a person going to be feel dismissed, but the person's inevitably going to recoil back at you because they're going to be like, this person just responded to me in 1 second. They didn't even consider what I had to say. They don't. They obviously don't really know what they're talking about, and therefore I'm going to lash back at them, be like, oh well, you're responding to me like this. You obviously don't know shit about what I'm saying, because you just want to look like a smartass. And then the person's going to come back at you, and then and this happens a lot on internet forums, although not always. I mean, a lot of times, like, people are interested in, the quest for truth and, the betterment of all parties and learning and making sure the other person learns instead of just, like, smacking them. And, again, in groups, in interpersonal relationships, at work, and I feel like the world's, we've kind of had all this abundance of physical abundance, like the economy's been really good. We've had like cheap energy, and all that, and food's cheap. I mean, we haven't had to worry about the necessities. We've kind of had this time and nervous energy, which is like, I could get into a whole other issue about like I haven't exercised this morning, which is probably why I'm not as clear and concise and eloquent as I could possibly be, and a little jittery, as you can see. But anyway, we've had all this like nervous energy and all like, at the same time we've had this physical abundance. We've also we've also been very alienated from each other, to some extent. Like here I am in I'm not suburban, but rural domicile, all by myself, while my woman's living with her sister because of financial issues and just weirdness that I'm not going to get into. But and I've thought about this ever more since I've had a child, where mothers will put their children in daycare with another person to watch over them. Often the other person is a mother themselves whose own children are being watched by someone else, and because mothers, especially new mothers, especially mothers who never had younger siblings, are just totally clueless about babies and about, oftentimes, just, they have no idea what they're in for, and they get overwhelmed. And I just have this image of my girlfriend living at her mother's house, my mother-in-law. Well, we're not married, but I call her my mother-in-law, who's at work. And, in the evening, sometimes she'd just go out to bars and stuff because she's divorced and, wanted to meet, like, another man to fill her life. And that's, like, a whole... I could literally talk for hours. Like, there's just so much bullshit in our culture about one man and one woman versus the world and the nuclear family and all this shit that doesn't really work. And I just, like, my daughter, my girlfriend tried to make her meal and my daughter, like, crawling up her leg. Just wanting attention, wanting stimulation, wanting to be outdoors, wanting other children to play with, wanting to feel like she isn't a burden to my mother, who felt like she was a burden to her mother, and I felt like I was a burden to my parents. You know, and it's just I'm gonna cut this short. I'm gonna cut this short, even though it hasn't been at all short, because there's just so many issues. Everything leads into the other thing. But I really think at the bottom of it all is just that quest for truth, and that quest for the best result for all people, you know, as opposed to just going on reaction, going to what, you know, thinks at superficial glance like it would be the best, and reacting to others like with hostility. And, you know, I guess I can't really meditate. It's really hard for me to meditate. Although I do things that I feel like are meditative. Even my job, I work at a farm, is kind of meditative sometimes. And playing chess isn't. I guess you wouldn't really call it meditative, because it's more, I'm getting out of myself into the game. So it's kind of expansive, but I wouldn't say it's meditative. But yeah, my point is that all the best things in life, I feel like, come out of wanting them, as opposed to wanting more of the same, as opposed to wanting what you think you're supposed to want, and reacting from that place of the place of I that isn't really the essential you. That's part of it is. I mean, I definitely feel like a lot of personality is inborn, maybe 60-70% even, but above that is just the shell of who you think you are, the way you're supposed to react, what values were instilled in you when you were real little, before you had a chance, before you even knew language, just the way your parents acted, what you thought was appropriate, and just this whole, you know, unconscious mass of stuff that you could try to bring to the surface of consciousness and pick through it all and sort out what you like and what you don't like. But that would take like 50 lifetimes. So really all you can really do is try to be as conscious as possible about everything you're about to do and about to say, and make your goal the betterment of all beings, and also the truth, learning reality, wanting to understand as opposed to wanting to control. Well, understand gives you control, but being afraid of losing control, I think being afraid of the I, the ego, losing temporary control in order to gain more permanent, real control, which is the short-term thinking that is it's kind of like destroying the environment to make money. You know, subjugating peoples for control to make money. And in the end, you're going to lose it. Just the short-term thinking, the I, the shell of the I that just wants to survive another day, that just wants to survive this conversation, that wants to be right in the moment, as opposed to taking a more expansive, long-term view. So I hope maybe someone can try to condense any insights that I might have stumbled across into like 5 sentences or something. That'd be really helpful. And yeah, I'm open to any comments, critiques, what have you. Okay, thanks.